Hello and welcome to Tabletop Oddity. My name is Jay and today is the day that FFG have updated the points for X-Wing 2.0 and oh my god, there are some big changes in there that I didn't see coming and I think a lot of the community didn't see coming. And we're going to we'll look at the article first and then we'll just sort of pick, I'm probably going to go through the Empire and the Rebel factions as the, Empire was seen as a pretty good faction, the Rebels pretty bad. I don't really know too much about the Scum faction, it's not something I've ever really played with. So yeah, we're going to go through the points, we'll look at the generic upgrades changes as well. All in all, it's very interesting. Two things, if at the end of the video you like this video, then do consider hitting the like button, and if you're not already subscribed to the channel, then please do consider doing that. So let's get into full reaction mode. Now I'm winging this because we're doing it live, and I'm going to try and show you the old points and the new points, and we're going to sort of go through and talk through them like that. So they've done an article today, talking about the upgrades, and it talks about some key design things that they've done. So many large ships have had their points cost reduced. Essentially across the board, a lot of large ships weren't getting that much use for a variety of different reasons, probably because there's a lot more medium ships and they possibly just overpointed them a little bit. So they have significantly reduced the cost of that. One key one that I can think of off my top of my head is Han Solo for the Rebels, 10 points down. So that's a start. We're looking at some serious point changes. Cost of overperforming and underperforming ships have been adjusted. So they talk about the Rebel Alliance that they were happy with the X-Wing, but the rest of them, the B-Wings, the Y-Wings, A-Wings and K-Wings and all that kind of stuff, they have lowered those. I think like the B-Wing I thought was being the Y-Wing were sort of okay, but maybe a bit over, but they've lowered them as well. They've reduced the, they've increased the points on the Hawk and the, I don't know, the Sheafipede class, I don't know how you say that, the shuttle. For the Galactic Empire, now this is where we start getting some serious business. The Bombers and Punishers, they have gone up in points, as I think we all truly knew that. But there is a massive one here, hidden away, which is that the TIE Phantom has lost its crew icon and has gained the Gunner icon. So basically you're not having Whisper Vader, and it even mentions Whisper and Vader. So they've that combo flat out gone. You just can't do it. Boom, drop that for you. Now the interesting thing is that the TIE Advanced and a couple of the other ships there have actually gone down in points. Darth Vader, the pilot, down in points. Fire control system, down in points. So really interesting stuff there. I said I don't know too much about the Scum and Villainy faction, but the Jump Master has come down, and I'm not really sure about the other stuff. I'll leave somebody probably, who knows a lot more about Scum to talk about them, or if you're really interested, you can just go on the website and get the points yourself. And now the upgrade cards, which are another interesting one. It talks about the Resistance and the First Order, but it doesn't sound like they've got many changes. A change to the Silencer got a little bit cheaper, and the Resistance Bomber got a little bit cheaper, but that's all really. Yeah, they have definitely overhauled the advanced they have changed advanced sensors, they've increased that in points. But now supernatural reflexes, I think it may be advanced sensors, scales with initiative, and oh my god, the points change on that. If you're a pilot skill 6, I think it's like 32 or 34 points. That's a massive upgrade. That's like 20 points more expensive than what it was. That is absolutely insane. And they have reduced the cost of turrets. I think they wanted it to be more arc dodging, so they may have underpowered turrets a little bit. So they've basically reduced the points of turrets. And that's the article. But we'll go through a couple of the factions. We'll start off with the generic upgrades actually first. So on the left here, so the far side of the screen, the far side, that's the old one. And on the right, which I'm sort of covering, that's the new one. So I'll scroll them both to the same kind of point. Anything interesting here? The astromechs have gone down, so you can see here 4 points. Sorry, it's not that clear. I am winging this on the fly. This is literally just my desktop. The droids have gone down. Pretty much nothing else interesting here. I did see like trajectory simulators gone up quite significantly, but here we go, supernatural reflexes. So let's get to supernatural reflexes. The old one was 12 points. It is now based on your initiative. So this is like pilot skill 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then if you pilot skill 0, you're also 4. So 32 points if you pilot skill 6, which is very high indeed. Nothing else of interest there really. Alpha, the gunners have come down a little bit. You can see here they were 10, they're now 8. I do apologise, it's not as zoomed in as I would quite like, so let's just zoom in a little bit more. hopefully that's a little bit better for you there. Yeah, I should have started off like that. So yeah, supernatural reflexes definitely increased in cost, and wow, can you, like, it's a big change. I'm interested in Cloaking Device. I haven't seen Cloaking Device before. No, that stays the same. And there are a couple of big ones here, so we really want to get to like proton torpedoes and stuff like that. The rockets pretty much all the same. The ablative plating's gone up a couple of points. I saw advanced sensors. That's gone up. Fire control system is one that's actually gone down, which is intriguing because of the combos and stuff like that. So let's just get to proton torpedoes, guys. Let's forget everything else. It's basically gone up. It's gone up by 3 points. So there's proton torpedoes on the old one, and proton torpedoes here on the right, 12 points. So they were 9. They are now 12, which is fair enough. They were quite powerful. You saw a lot of lists with them in, and yeah, all in all, pretty abusive. Duke's gone up by a point. You can see Duke here in the top left. Was 4, is now 5. And they're really the main points. You can sort of see the differences here in pilot skill for supernatural reflexes. I believe the turrets have come down. You can see dorsal turret is 2, ion cannons 4. So yeah, that's come down. Very interesting changes there. Pretty amazing change. Like the costs are pretty significantly different. It's not just like a slight change. They are significant. So trajectory simulator is 10 there. So let's see, where is trajectory simulator? Trajectory simulator was 3, is now 10. Fire control system was 3, is now 2. So I really interesting. Collision detector gone up a point. Fair enough, I can see that. So really like seismic changes there. Really big meta changes, just all across the board. So we'll have a look at a couple of the specific factions, but what I'm going to do is look at the factions that I know the most, which isn't saying much because I don't know them that well. I'm sure somebody will take the time and go through all of these, but you can see, if you just look at the left, like look at this first pilot, Major Vander, 41, and it is now 39. They've literally all come down by a couple of points, and that's this is the Galactic Empire, so it's pretty much anything that wasn't really abused has come down, essentially. So it makes sense. If you weren't seeing meta play or play in general, you've come down, and if you were seeing too much play, you have been tweaked one way or another. And you can see that sort of not across the board, but you can, like the Lambda class, they seem pretty much the same. But the TIE Advance V1, they have essentially gone down in points as well. And even stuff like Darth Vader there was 70, is now 65. Marek Steel was 50, is now 46. Vader, I think, is going to be a pretty powerful pilot, and that is sort of what you want, isn't it? You want, they had Luke and they were pretty happy with Luke, and they want Vader to be played, and lowering him in points is definitely one way to get there. So that's an interesting decrease. Sun TFL and the Interceptor, they pretty much just kept that exactly the same. So they weren't really expecting any massive changes there. And we'll try and get onto the big ones. So let's get down to, we'll get down to the Punisher because that's the next one there. Redline was 44, is now 52. A sizable increase of 8 points there. Death Rain up by 2, which I think Death Rain now might become the powerful combo there. That's not as big of an increase in comparison. So interesting indeed. And the Defender come down. I mean, yeah, all right, the Defenders come down. Rexler, pretty much all of them have come down by 2 points, which is fair enough. They're obviously happy with the actual TIE Fighters. I thought you might have seen a decrease in TIE Fighters, but I ain't going to go through all of those, but they definitely look pretty much identical. The Phantom, so the Whisper Vader combo's not there anymore, but they've still increased the Whisper by 2 points. Echo's the same. So not really like massive changes there. And then the TIE Bomber has been nerfed, and they did mention that in the article. TIE Bomber pretty much increases across the board. Fair enough. It was quite powerful. And they must have thought that was the best way to solve it. So not really too much else on the Imperial side of things that I can speak too much about. The Decimator's come down by 8 points. It was 88, it is now 80. Just decreases across the board there. Pretty interesting. So the next and last faction that I will personally look at will be the Rebels, because it's a faction I've played. And that's all I really want to base this on, is stuff that I've played. I don't think the Resistance has really changed too much, but that would be my third faction if I was going to have a third faction. The Rebel Alliance B-Wing, I'll go a little bit left just to get that in. The B-Wing come down in points. They said that, you know, they were happy with the X-Wings, but everything else, they weren't necessarily happy with it, and you can sort of see that in the B-Wing again. The Starfighter, that's essentially the same, so no massive changes there. The attack shuttle, I remember I was watching a Hurry Nick video, I think he was saying how Sabine might have been a bit too expensive in comparison to Ezra, and in that case you can see Sabine has come down by 4 points, but the rest of them pretty much sort of staying the same. The gunship, they've just left the same. I don't know if that was seeing much play, but they've left that the same. And the Y-Wing decreases are pretty much across the board. Dutch is down, Nora's down, everything's down, so can definitely a big push to get the Rebels back in the meta here. And that I can see why they only do these every 6 months. Geez, these are quite big changes, aren't they? Corran's down as well. He's was 74, is now 66, and in one of the first tournaments I went to, I got smashed by a Corran Horn, so I'm not happy to see that, but that's just the way it is. The K-Wing, that's down like they said. And we'll get to Han Solo, because I think that's one of the big ones. Let me just, I did write some notes down, so let's see if I can actually find that very briefly for you. When it comes to the Rebels, yeah, Sabine's down, the B-Wings are down, Han's down, the Luke Gunner's down, and I think the Han Gunner's up. We didn't actually talk about that on the other one. And I believe Moldy Crow has also gone up, which is going to be important. Those notes not really relevant to this, but I thought I'd read them anyway. Bear with me a second, please. So the A-Wing, yeah, it's down in points. Pretty much, you know, as they said, everything was getting decreased across the board. The shuttle, that looks very similar, if not exactly the same. And the X-Wing is also pretty much exactly the same. Luke and Wedger and Biggs are all the same. Thane is also the same. Garvin, the same. Yeah, there's a couple of changes to what they can and can't take for the lower pilot ones, I think. But other than that, no massive changes there. The TIE Fighter is the same. The U-Wing, hopefully this isn't too confusing. As I said, it's the old on the left and the new on the right. So this is the old. So the U-Wing has not really changed. The VCX 100 Light Freighter, which I actually have no idea what ship that is. I couldn't draw it for you or anything like that. That has come down, but I believe that's a large ship, so that would sort of make sense. And here we go, Han Solo. Han Solo here was 92, is now 82, 10-point drop. Lando down 12, which is a big mover in the world. Chewie down 11. These are some significant changes. I think, you know, you might be looking at a really strong renaissance for the Falcon here, which will be very interesting. I own one, so I'm pretty happy about that. Dash is down 2 points, not a massive change, but could be significant if the builds allow it to be significant. And then yeah, that's pretty much it. I think you've got some specific upgrades. I think the R2s were down, but R2D2's only dropped 2 points. So yeah, I think you might see R2D2 now with that. For 6 points, it sort of seems like it's worth throwing on there. Any other big changes there for thinking? Well, we talked about Han, the Gunner. Is it's gone up to, did I say down before? It's gone up to as the Han Solo Gunner, which I think sort of makes sense, and Luke Skywalker Gunner has come down, but everything else I think is pretty much about the same. Moldy Crow has gone up. I don't know if that's the same for the Scum, but big change there. So I mean, that's just two factions, but this is already a 30-minute video. Big changes, large ships, points drop. The massive like meta hit to like the Phantoms and the Punisher and you know, all that kind of stuff is really intriguing. I can see why they only want to do this every like 6 months. I personally still think you do a big one every 6 months, and then like every 3 months you tweak it a little bit. You know, because we could have seen a month ago, we could have seen Whisper gone up in points by a couple of points, and just let the meta sort of resettle. But with just the minorest of changes. But I mean, all in all, it's like, I think the initial reaction seems to be happiness. I think, yes, some people's builds have been absolutely wrecked, but I think you can see logically that a lot of this makes sense. A bit of me thinks that they might have overcompensated in some areas. Like, you know, Redline might have been too much. Phantom and Whisper's gone, so will it even see play? And maybe you're now gonna you'll have a new meta. People will min max this kind of stuff, and you know, maybe we're gonna see Darth Vader the pilot just be prominent. But maybe that's what they want. I'm sure as people smarter than me will come on and analyze what this is going to do for hyperspace and what this does for the extended format. But wow, I'm just like I'm taken aback by the size of these changes and how good people are receiving, how well people are receiving these. My initial reaction, I'm happy. Like, I mainly fly the Empire. I've got most of the ships, but I didn't want to run Redline Whisper. It was just like, I don't want to run something that's so obviously abusable or like so obviously at the top of that kind of command. I'd like everything to be like worthwhile and you just pick your favorite. And so I'd sort of moved on to the Rebels, which sort of explains why I was looking at the Rebels then. And they've done pretty much what I would have hoped for. The X-Wing builds with proton torpedoes are a little worse, but a little better maybe if you take an R2 unit. So they're okay, but dropping the Y-Wing, the B-Wing and all that kind of stuff probably makes up for the proton torpedoes anyway, because you might run 2 X's and a Y, something like that. So yeah, really personally happy. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Really intrigued if you spotted anything that I didn't mention like in the other factions. That would be very interesting to read. Maybe if you saw something on the screen that I also missed that was obvious. I do apologize for the like double screen thing, but I mean, without going through and just highlighting stuff and making a shed ton of notes, it would have took me forever, and I just wanted to wing it because it literally has just come out maybe like an hour ago. So if you like this video, do like. If you're not already subscribed, then do consider hitting the subscribe button. Anybody who ever supports or thinks about supporting us on Patreon, that really does help, so I do really appreciate that. Have a most beautiful day, and I'm very excited to play X-Wing the next time. I mean, I'm always excited to play X-Wing, but now I really want to play a game, so there goes that. Have a beautiful day, and goodbye.